The vast emptiness of space lit up with brilliant flashes as the alien fleet emerged from hyperspace near Earth's orbit. Their ships, resembling giant metallic insects, positioned themselves in a threatening formation above the blue planet. At Mission Control, Commander James Stone stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching the main screen with unwavering attention. His gray hair and weathered face reflected years of military service, but nothing in his experience had prepared him for this moment. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission," announced Officer Tom Wilson, his fingers dancing across the control panel. "It's being broadcast on all frequencies." The screen flickered to life, revealing a creature that made several junior officers step back. The alien commander appeared as a mantis-like being with compound eyes and metallic-looking exoskeleton. Its mandibles clicked as it spoke, the words translated by their advanced systems. "Inhabitants of Earth," the alien's voice crackled through the speakers. "I am High Commander Krax of the Thoraxian Empire. Your planet now falls under our domain. Surrender immediately, or we shall be forced to unleash our most fearsome combat beast upon your world." Stone remained calm, though his jaw tightened slightly. "Open a channel," he ordered. "This is Commander Stone of Earth's United Defense Force. We are a peaceful planet, but we will defend ourselves if necessary." The alien's mandibles clicked rapidly, their equivalent of laughter. "You show admirable courage, Commander Stone. However, you have no concept of the terror that awaits you. Our beast has conquered 12 worlds. None have survived its onslaught. Around the world, military forces mobilized. Fighter jets took to the skies, tanks rolled into position, and soldiers prepared for what might be humanity's last stand. The news spread quickly, causing a mix of panic and determination among Earth's population. In the command center, Stone received reports from various military bases. The Chinese military had mobilized their entire eastern fleet. Russian forces were on high alert. The European Union had activated their joint defense protocol. Every nation on Earth was preparing for war. "Sir," Wilson called out, "they're launching something from their main ship." All eyes turned to the massive screen as a large transport vessel detached from the alien fleet. It was different from their other ships, heavily reinforced and covered in warning symbols that even their translation software couldn't decipher. "Your last chance, Commander Stone." Krax's voice boomed through the speakers. "Surrender now, or face the consequences." Stone straightened his uniform and responded firmly, "We will not surrender our world without a fight." "Then you leave us no choice," Krax declared. "The beast will land in your largest desert region in exactly 1 Earth hour. My soldiers will ensure no one interferes with its deployment. Your species had its chance." The transport ship entered Earth's atmosphere, heading toward the Sahara Desert. Military satellites tracked its descent while special forces teams rushed to the predicted landing zone. Attack helicopters circled the area, and armored vehicles created a wide perimeter. In the command center, tension reached its peak. Officers monitored multiple screens showing various angles of the landing site. The transport ship, now visible from the ground, was massive, easily the size of a football stadium. "Whatever comes out of that ship," Stone addressed his staff, "we face it together. Humanity has survived every challenge it has ever faced. We'll survive this too." The ship landed with a thunderous boom that shook the Earth for miles around. Dust clouds billowed around it, obscuring the view temporarily. As the dust settled, everyone could see the massive doors slowly beginning to open. Strange sounds emerged from within, sounds that made the alien soldiers chittering with what seemed like pride and anticipation. The human forces gripped their weapons tighter, prepared for whatever horror was about to emerge. Commander Stone watched through the live feed, his hand resting on the emergency protocol button that would launch every nuclear missile Earth had if necessary. He silently hoped it wouldn't come to that. "Behold," Krax's voice thundered across all channels, "the beast that will end your civilization, the most fearsome creature in 12 star systems. Your doom approaches." The transport's doors finally opened completely, And in the tense silence that followed, everyone waited to see the creature that had supposedly conquered 12 worlds. The massive transport doors creaked open with an ominous rumble. Military personnel held their breath, fingers hovering over triggers. Tank commanders adjusted their sights, and helicopter pilots maintained a steady hover above the scene. Heavy footsteps echoed from within the dark transport. The ground trembled slightly with each step, building up the tension. Commander Stone leaned forward in the command center, his eyes fixed on the main screen. The alien soldiers around the transport stood at attention, their metallic armor gleaming under Earth's sun. "Watch in terror, humans," High Commander Krax broadcasted. "As our ultimate weapon emerges." A shadow appeared in the doorway. Large, very large. The silhouette suggested something four-legged. Military spotlights focused on the opening. And then, a tail wagged. The creature that emerged was, by Earth standards, a massive puppy. It appeared to be something similar to a Saint Bernard, but slightly larger, with soft brown fur, floppy ears, and a face that could only be described as adorable. Its tongue lolled out as it looked around with excited curiosity. In the command center, absolute silence fell. Commander Stone blinked several times, not quite believing what he was seeing. Officer Wilson rubbed his eyes and looked again. "Sir," Wilson whispered, "is that a dog?" The puppy, apparently excited by its new surroundings, let out a cheerful woof that echoed across the desert. Several alien soldiers immediately dove for cover, their chittering sounds now clearly indicating fear. "Behold its battle cry," Krax announced, though his voice wavered slightly. "See how it strikes terror into the hearts of the mightiest warriors." The puppy, spotting some of the hiding alien soldiers, bounded toward them playfully. Its tail wagged with such force that it kicked up small clouds of sand. The aliens scattered in panic, some climbing on top of their vehicles to escape. "Sir," a young lieutenant addressed Commander Stone, struggling to keep a straight face, "should we, maintain battle stations?" Stone watched as the puppy flopped onto its back in the sand, clearly asking for belly rubs. "Stand down all nuclear options," he ordered, a smile tugging at his lips. "But maintain a perimeter. I'm going out there myself." "Commander Stone," Krax's voice crackled through the comm system, "do not approach the beast. It has devoured entire platoons in single bites." Stone ignored the warning as he arrived at the scene via helicopter. He stepped out onto the sand, straightened his uniform, and walked confidently toward the puppy. The alien soldiers watched in horror, some covering their compound eyes. The puppy, noticing Stone, immediately bounded over. Its size was impressive, standing nearly as tall as a small horse. But its behavior was pure canine joy. It skidded to a stop in front of Stone and promptly sat, tail stirring up a sandstorm behind it. "The beast submits to their commander." An alien soldier screamed. "They must have powerful magic." Stone reached out and scratched behind the puppy's ears. The fearsome beast responded by rolling over, tongue lolling out in happiness. The massive pup's legs started thumping against the ground as Stone found the perfect scratching spot, causing minor seismic readings on the military's equipment. "High Commander Krax," Stone called out, still petting the puppy, "I believe we need to discuss your definition of fearsome beast." From the alien ships above, Krax watched in disbelief as his ultimate weapon began playing fetch with a human officer's hat. The puppy bounded around the desert, carefully bringing the hat back each time, while more human soldiers approached to join in the fun. "Impossible," Krax muttered. "They have tamed it with their strange powers." The scene below had transformed from a potential battlefield into something resembling a pet adoption event. The puppy was now surrounded by soldiers offering belly rubs and treats, while the alien forces watched in a mixture of awe and confusion from a safe distance. Commander Stone looked up at the alien ships with a grin. He had a feeling this first contact situation was about to take a very interesting turn. The command center buzzed with a mixture of laughter and confused chatter as video feeds showed the continuing scene in the desert. The fearsome beast was now attempting to play with a tank, gently nudging it with its nose while wagging its tail, much to the alarm of the alien forces. Commander Stone stood beside the massive puppy, which they had temporarily named Tank due to its size and newfound interest in armored vehicles. He keyed his comm unit, opening a channel to High Commander Krax's ship. "Perhaps," Stone suggested diplomatically, trying to keep the amusement out of his voice, "we should discuss this situation face to face, Commander Krax." There was a long pause before Krax responded, his mandibles clicking rapidly in what humans were beginning to recognize as agitation. You have not been destroyed by the beast. How is this possible?" In the background, Tank had discovered a group of soldiers playing with a large rubber ball someone had retrieved from a nearby base. The massive puppy's playful barks echoed across the desert as it carefully chased the ball, being surprisingly gentle despite its size. "I don't understand," an alien soldier whispered loudly enough to be picked up by nearby microphones. "The beast destroyed 3 defense platforms on Centauri 6. By accident," another alien added. "It was trying to. What's the word? Fetch them." Stone watched as Tank brought the ball back to the soldiers, its entire rear end wiggling with excitement. The alien forces remained perched on their vehicles, their compound eyes tracking every movement of the terrible beast with a mixture of fear and growing confusion. After another long pause, Krax's transport ship descended from the fleet above. It landed a safe distance away, safe from Tank's enthusiastic greeting attempts. The ship's doors opened, and Krax emerged, surrounded by heavily armed guards. The alien commander stood about chest-high to a human, his insectoid features glinting in the desert sun. He approached cautiously, stopping every few steps to watch Tank, who was now rolling in the sand while several soldiers scratched its belly. "This makes no sense," Krax declared, his translator struggling to convey his bewilderment. "The beast has conquered worlds. It destroyed an entire space station. How are you controlling it?" Stone gestured toward Tank. "We're not controlling anything. This is just how dogs, what you call beasts, naturally behave around humans. They're companions, friends. We've lived alongside them for thousands of years." Tank noticed the new arrivals and bounded over excitedly, causing Krax's entire security detail to form a protective circle around their commander, weapons raised. The puppy skidded to a halt, head tilted in confusion at their reaction. "Sit," Stone commanded gently. Tank's bottom immediately hit the sand, tongue lolling out as it looked between the humans and aliens with bright, friendly eyes. Krax's mandibles worked silently for a moment as he processed this. "You mean to tell me," he finally managed, "that your species regularly associates with such creatures?" "Voluntarily." "Of course," Stone replied. "They're loyal, intelligent, and loving animals. Most humans consider them part of their families." Tank chose this moment to flop onto its side, exposing its belly in a universal request for more scratches. Several alien guards flinched at the sudden movement. But it's enormous," Krax protested. "Look at the size of its mouth. Those teeth." Stone walked over and knelt beside Tank, demonstrating how gentle the massive puppy could be. "Size is relative, Commander. To us, Tank here is just a larger version of a very common companion animal. Though I admit he's quite big even by our standards." The alien commander watched in fascination as Tank delicately took a treat from Stone's hand, its tail thumping against the ground with enough force to make nearby equipment rattle. Then, Krax seemed to be struggling with a realization. "You're saying that what we considered our ultimate weapon is actually a puppy?" "Exactly," Stone confirmed, failing to completely hide his smile. "And not even a particularly fierce one at that. In fact," he paused, considering his next words carefully, "would you like to know what we consider a truly impressive military animal?" Krax's antennae twitched nervously. "There are more fearsome beasts than this one." Stone's smile widened. "Commander, I believe it's time you met our K9 units. The desert air grew tenser as 3 military helicopters approached the landing zone. Tank, still sprawled in the sand, lifted its head curiously at the sound. Commander Krax and his soldiers watched nervously as the aircraft landed a short distance away. "These," Commander Stone announced, "are some of Earth's actual military animals." The helicopter doors opened, and several German shepherds in tactical gear emerged with their handlers. To humans, they looked professional and well-trained. To the aliens, who were roughly the size of the dogs' heads, they appeared absolutely terrifying. "By the cosmic void," Krax stumbled backward. "You've weaponized the beasts." Tank, excited to see more of its own kind, let out a happy bark that sent several alien soldiers diving for cover again. The military dogs, however, remained perfectly disciplined, sitting at attention beside their handlers. "These are our K9 units," Stone explained, walking over to one of the handlers. "This is Officer Mike with his partner Rex. They're trained for multiple combat and security scenarios." Krax's compound eyes shifted rapidly between Tank and the military dogs. "You mean to tell me that your species not only befriends these creatures but trains them for warfare?" "Among other things," Stone replied. "Search and rescue, law enforcement, therapy work. Dogs are incredibly versatile." To demonstrate, Officer Mike gave Rex a series of commands. The German Shepherd demonstrated perfect obedience, performing various tactical maneuvers that left the alien forces in stunned silence. "Impossible," one of Krax's scientists whispered, frantically taking notes on a holographic pad. "The level of control, the coordination." Tank, not wanting to be left out, bounded over to the K9 units. Despite its massive size, the military dogs remained professional, though Rex's tail gave a single interested wag. The size difference was striking. Tank stood nearly twice as tall as the German shepherds. "Your beast," Krax said slowly, "the one we thought was unstoppable. It's just a juvenile, isn't it?" Stone nodded. "A puppy, yes. Probably only a few months old, given its behavior, though I must admit, I've never seen this particular breed before." The alien commander's antennae drooped slightly. "We found it on an uninhabited world. It was alone, and our scientists thought its size made it perfect for psychological warfare. We never imagined that it was just a big, friendly baby." Stone finished, watching as Tank attempted to initiate play with the stoic military dogs. "Our species," Krax explained, his mandibles clicking softly, "evolved from hive-dwelling insects. Large mammals are uncommon in our experience. When we first encountered your puppy, its size alone caused panic among our forces." As if to emphasize the point, Tank chose that moment to shake itself, sending sand flying everywhere. Several alien soldiers ducked behind their vehicles again, while the K9 units merely blinked away the dust. "Perhaps," Stone suggested diplomatically, "we could arrange a cultural exchange. Help your people understand Earth's animals better, while we learn more about your species." Krax watched as Tank finally managed to get one of the German shepherds to play. The two dogs now engaged in a careful game of chase that still maintained a professional distance. "Yes," the alien commander agreed. "That might be wise. Especially considering." "Considering what?" "We may have, accidentally, left 2 more of these puppies on different worlds we tried to conquer. Worlds that are now refusing to communicate with us." Stone couldn't help but laugh. "Well, Commander Krax, I believe this marks the beginning of a very interesting diplomatic relationship. Shall we discuss the terms of peace, and perhaps a joint puppy retrieval mission?" The alien commander nodded, his initial fear now replaced with embarrassed curiosity. In the background, Tank had flopped onto its back again, its massive paws waving in the air as one of the K9 handlers cautiously approached to give it a belly rub. "To think," Krax mused, "we spent years developing advanced weapons, when all we really had was an oversized puppy with separation anxiety." "Don't feel too bad," Stone consoled him. "You're not the first to underestimate the power of a dog's friendship. though you might be the first to try using it as a weapon of mass destruction. The impromptu demonstration area in the desert had transformed into something resembling a military dog show. Commander Stone had called in additional K9 units, each specializing in different areas of expertise. The alien forces watched with a mixture of terror and fascination as the dogs showcased their abilities. "This is Max," Officer Lisa explained, standing beside a Belgian Malinois. "He can detect explosives from 50 meters away and take down an armed target in seconds." Crax's scientific team huddled behind their recording devices, documenting everything. Tank sat nearby, watching the proceedings with puppy-like enthusiasm, occasionally trying to copy the military dog's disciplined poses, but getting distracted by its own tail. And here, another handler stepped forward with a bloodhound. "We have Scout. He can track scents for miles, even days after they're left." The alien soldiers shifted uncomfortably as Scout demonstrated his abilities, easily finding a hidden target in the desert. Their chittering increased when the bloodhound turned his attention to them, sniffing the air curiously. "Remarkable," Crax muttered. "Each breed has different capabilities, different specializations." Stone nodded. "We've selectively bred dogs for thousands of years, developing breeds for specific purposes: hunting, herding, protection, companionship. There's a dog breed for almost every need." A demonstration of agility training left the aliens particularly impressed. They watched as German shepherds navigated complex obstacle courses, scaled walls, and crawled under barbed wire, all while maintaining perfect obedience to their handlers' commands. "But how do you maintain control?" one of Crax's officers asked. "Surely creatures with such capabilities could turn against you." As if in answer, Tank chose that moment to roll over and expose its belly to a passing soldier, tail wagging hopefully. The military dogs remained alert but relaxed, clearly comfortable with their human partners. "It's not about control," Stone explained. "It's about partnership. Dogs and humans have evolved alongside each other. They're loyal by nature, and we return that loyalty with care and respect." The demonstration continued with search and rescue dogs, showing their skills at finding hidden people in simulated rubble. The aliens were particularly stunned by the dog's ability to work independently while still following complex commands. "Sir," one of Crax's scientists approached nervously, "our scans indicate these creatures possess intelligence levels far beyond what we initially assumed. The neural pathways, the emotional complexity." Crax watched as a small team of border collies demonstrated their herding abilities, efficiently moving a group of practice targets into designated areas. "We may have severely miscalculated our approach to Earth." "Commander," Stone said, placing a friendly hand on Crax's shoulder, causing nearby alien guards to flinch. "I think it's time we showed you something else." He pulled out his phone and showed Crax pictures of various dogs. Tiny chihuahuas, massive mastiffs, elegant poodles, wrinkled bulldogs. The alien commander's compound eyes widened with each swipe. "You mean to tell me," Crax said slowly, "that your species has developed all these variants, and they all serve different purposes? Look at this one." Stone showed him a picture of a police dog taking down a training target. Then he swiped to show the same dog playing gently with a child. They can be fierce protectors and gentle companions. Tank, seemingly understanding it was being discussed, ambled over and attempted to sit like the military dogs. It managed for about 3 seconds before flopping over and requesting belly rubs from the nearest human. "I believe," Crax announced to his officers, "we should immediately reconsider our invasion strategies. And perhaps," he watched as Tank playfully chased its tail, causing nearby equipment to rattle with each heavy step, "we should also consider establishing a proper canine training program." Stone smiled. "We would be happy to help with that. Though maybe we should start with something smaller than Tank. A Labrador retriever, perhaps." The desert air filled with the sounds of barking dogs, nervous alien chittering, and human laughter. It wasn't exactly the first contact scenario anyone had expected, but it was certainly turning out to be one of the most interesting in human history. 1 week after the failed invasion, the United Nations headquarters in New York hosted an unusual diplomatic summit. Commander Stone stood at the podium, addressing a mixed audience of humans and Thoraxians. Tank, now wearing a specially made diplomatic envoy vest, sat beside him, occasionally drooling on the expensive carpet. "Today marks a historic moment," Stone announced. "The signing of the Earth-Thoraxian Friendship Treaty, all thanks to a misunderstanding about a very large puppy." The alien delegation, now somewhat more comfortable around dogs, had requested specially elevated seating to stay at eye level with their human counterparts. Krax sat in the front row, his antennae twitching with interest as he watched a demonstration of therapy dogs working with children. "As part of our cultural exchange program," Stone continued, "Earth will provide the Thoraxian Empire with a comprehensive guide to canine breeds, training, and care. In return, the Thoraxians have agreed to share their advanced space travel technology." Tank, excited by all the attention, let out a happy woof that echoed through the chamber. Several Thoraxian scientists still jumped, but most managed to maintain their composure. Furthermore, Stone gestured to a group of dog trainers standing nearby. "We're establishing the first interstellar canine training academy. This facility will help our new allies understand and work with Earth's canine companions." Krax approached the podium, his metallic exoskeleton gleaming under the lights. "My people have learned much in the past week. What we once feared as beasts, we now recognize as remarkable companions. Though," he added with a click of his mandibles, "we still prefer to start with the smaller breeds." The audience chuckled as footage played on the main screen, showing Thoraxian officers tentatively learning to play fetch with a group of corgi puppies. The size difference made the small dogs much less intimidating to the insectoid aliens. "We've also located the other 2 puppies from Tank's litter," Stone announced. "Diplomatic missions are already underway to explain the situation to the worlds where they were accidentally deployed." Tank, hearing its name, trotted over to Krax, who had finally learned not to flee at the puppy's approach. The alien commander even managed to give Tank a brief pat on the head, earning appreciative murmurs from both human and Thoraxian observers. "Our scientists have determined," Krax addressed the audience, "that Tank's breed appears to be a result of genetic engineering by an ancient, now extinct civilization. They apparently created these gentle giants as companions, not weapons as we foolishly assumed." In the following presentation, holographic displays showed the various new projects being developed. Space stations designed with designated dog parks, zero-gravity training programs for canine units, and special space suits for canine astronauts. Perhaps most importantly, Stone concluded, "This incident has taught both our species valuable lessons about assumptions and understanding. What one culture sees as terrifying, another might see as a beloved friend." The ceremony concluded with the official signing of the treaty. Tank contributed a paw print next to the signatures, leaving a slightly muddy mark that would be preserved in galactic history. Later, in a more private meeting room, Krax approached Stone with a peculiar request. "Commander," the alien leader clicked nervously, "would it be possible? That is, if it's not too much trouble, could I perhaps have one of those small pugs I've seen in the Earth databases?" Stone smiled. "Of course. Though I should warn you, they snore." "Snore?" Krax's antennae twitched in confusion. "Trust me," Stone patted the alien's shoulder. "It's all part of their charm. Just like how Tank here managed to charm his way into preventing an interstellar war." Tank, hearing its name again, bounded over and proceeded to cover Krax in enthusiastic puppy kisses, much to the amusement of everyone present. The alien commander, despite his initial instinct to flee, remained standing, though his mandibles clicked rapidly in what humans were learning to recognize as laughter. 1 year after the historic puppy incident, as it came to be known in diplomatic circles, the Earth-Thoraxian Interstellar Canine Academy celebrated its first graduation ceremony. Commander Stone stood proudly on the stage, watching as Thoraxian officers received their certifications in basic dog handling. Tank, now fully grown but still maintaining its puppy-like enthusiasm, had become the official mascot of interstellar relations. Though it still occasionally knocked over sensitive equipment with its wagging tail, no one seemed to mind anymore. Today's graduates, Stone announced to the mixed audience, represent a new chapter in galactic history. For the first time, our species have truly learned to work together, all thanks to humanity's oldest friends. In the front row, High Commander Krax sat with his personal companion, a pug named Snorts, who was wearing a tiny replica of Thoraxian battle armor. The small dog's snoring had initially caused panic among the alien crew, who thought it was malfunctioning, but now they found the sound oddly comforting. Our canine training program has already improved diplomatic relations with 17 different alien species, Stone continued. Though we did have that minor incident with the feline empire of Sirius B. The audience chuckled, remembering the chaos that ensued when the cat-like aliens discovered Earth's domestic cats. That had led to a whole different kind of diplomatic mission. Tank, wearing its formal diplomatic vest covered in medals, mostly for Best Boy and Excellence in Accidental Peacekeeping, demonstrated the progress made in interspecies relations by gently accepting treats from both human and Thoraxian handlers. Furthermore, Stone gestured to a holographic display. The Pets in Space program has exceeded all expectations. Our K9 units have already helped establish colonies on Mars, assisted in space station security, and even aided in the discovery of new habitable worlds. The screen showed footage of dogs in specially designed spacesuits, helping astronauts and alien scientists alike. One particularly popular clip showed Tank attempting zero-gravity fetch, sending a ball spinning through a space station while crew members dodged out of the way. But perhaps most importantly, Stone smiled. We've learned that friendship knows no species barrier. What began as a misunderstanding about what constitutes a fearsome beast has evolved into one of the strongest alliances in known space. Krax took the podium next, his mandibles clicking happily as Snorts waddled alongside him. When we first encountered Earth, we thought we were superior because of our advanced technology. Instead, humans taught us that true advancement lies in the ability to form bonds with other species. The ceremony concluded with a demonstration by the graduating class. Thoraxian officers worked in perfect harmony with their canine partners, showing off the skills they'd learned. The sight of insectoid aliens playing fetch, giving belly rubs, and even engaging in agility courses with their dogs would have seemed impossible just a year ago. After the ceremony, Stone found Krax in the Academy's dog park, watching Tank play with a group of puppies from the newest training program. "Did you ever imagine," Stone asked, "that your failed invasion would lead to all this?" Krax stroked Snorts, who was snoring contentedly in his lap. "Never. Though I still can't believe you humans weren't terrified of Tank when you first saw it." "Well," Stone chuckled, "size is relative. Though I have to admit, Tank might be the biggest lapdog in recorded history." As if to prove the point, Tank tried to curl up next to them, nearly crushing a bench in the process. The massive dog had never quite grasped its own size, still believing it was small enough to be a lap puppy. "You know," Krax mused, watching Tank's gentle interaction with the smaller dogs, "perhaps we should write a manual. How Not to Invade Earth. A Guide to Avoiding Embarrassing Cultural Misunderstandings." Chapter 1. Stone grinned. "Don't try to scare humans with puppies." Chapter 2. Krax added, ducking as Tank's tail swept overhead. "Always ask about pets first." The sun set on the Academy grounds, where humans and aliens continued to learn from each other, all thanks to one very large, very friendly mistake in threat assessment. Tank, still convinced it was a tiny puppy, continued to spread joy and minor property damage throughout the galaxy. The end.